All right, here we go. Good morning, everyone. So, we are going to go ahead and get started with the topic of just listed and just sold mastery. So, I'm going to encourage you all to come join us over on Zoom. For those of you that are, of course, over on YouTube, those of you that are joining us here on Instagram, and those of you that are joining us over on Facebook, I'm going to encourage you to come join us on Zoom as we are going to be breaking down the script today of just listed and just sold mastery. So, as we're gathering the audience, I do want to encourage you all, if you have any questions, any comments, any concerns, feel free to go ahead and just either type them in, raise your hand. Let's get some of those questions answered. And of course, any challenges that you guys are facing. So, I'm going to go back and just quickly review some of the things that we talked about in the last week or two in regards to these just listeds. And let's start off with the goals. The goals is very important. It isn't specific to just listed, but since we are on the topic, it is important that we do have certain goals that are in alignment with what we're trying to achieve. And the reason why this is important is because the closer you are to the goals in terms of the details, the visions of what you're trying to accomplish, it allows you the opportunity to be that much more successful. Puts you in a position where you don't have to set an alarm because you know exactly what you're going after. You have a destination. Unfortunately, not everybody has a destination. Some people find themselves in a position of they just go through, wake up, okay, I'm supposed to do this. I got to pay bills. I got rent to pay. I got a mortgage to pay. I got a car payment to make. And that's it. We go about our business. But the goals are very important as the coaching clients that I've helped in the past that are most successful, their goals are very clear on these goals. Okay, so they're very very clear on these goals. Of course, it's not one thing or another. Anyways, all right. So let's go ahead and move on. We must make a commitment to build our business through consistent daily efficient prospecting, and this is of course important from a perspective of being consistent. I relate a lot of things to kind of as an example of working out. If you're inconsistent with working out, what kind of results are you going to get? Not the results we want, right? So we do have to create some consistencies. Next thing is looking at a pre-prospecting routine. What does that pre-prospecting routine look like? Hey, are you waking up at a certain time? Are you getting in some exercising? Are you having a healthy breakfast? Are you doing affirmations? Are you arriving at the office at a certain time, at your desk at a certain time? Are you starting at a certain time? You got to clear your desk. What does your desk look like right now? Okay, is it filled with clutter? Is it filled with dreams, aspirations, goals, and basically leads? When you role play, you want to role play with enthusiasm. Okay, you want to role play with enthusiasm, high levels of energy. You want to be able to be in a position where you show up at a level 10 in terms of your role play, your practicing, and then by the time you get to the prospecting itself, ideally you're going to be maintaining that. Okay. Um, m- Moving on, as far as you want to have fun, of course, in the prospecting. Okay, when you're prospecting, it's already tedious, it's already monotonous, it is boring. So ideally, you're either in a prospecting group, you're in an office that is supportive of this, you're having fun with it. Okay. Um, Memorizing versus internalizing. When we're going through, I get it. I understand a larger percentage of you are like, I hate scripts. They suck. Okay. Well, they suck because you don't work on them. Okay. And the reason I talk about scripts a lot because it's a big part of our industry. So, an actor or actress, as an example, Leonardo DiCaprio, he is phenomenal. He gets paid 50, 70, $80 million a film because he internalizes his script, whether you like, love, or hate it. That's just the way that it works. Okay. I role play all the time with different clients, different agents. And the one common mistake that I get is people trying to shoot from the hip and it doesn't work. What's your response to, I'm going to wait for the interest rates to drop? Okay, I'll follow up with you. I'll check in. Or are you giving them a more educated, thorough response? Guys, got that? Practicing and role play the most common objections. This is probably the biggest thing I can give you guys when it comes time to skills is practicing and role playing the most common objections you're getting. Sure, there's 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 objection handlers that are out there, but in most cases, most realtors are only getting six, seven, or eight of them. And why is that? Because you're talking to the same audience, you're speaking in the same manner, you're getting the same type of client, and you're getting the same type of results. So in that, you just have to master those 6, 7, or 8 objections that you get. And then sometimes they do become seasonal. And what I mean by seasonal is you'll find them right now, interest rates. Was that a topic 3 years ago? No, not at all. Okay. Inventory. Was that a topic 3 years ago? Absolutely. So those are things that we're going to constantly look at. What's another common one? Will you cut your commission? Do we get that once or twice or often? Okay, so pay attention to that. When you are role playing, have your role play partner be a little bit tougher on you. Always practice a positive outcome. You always want to practice a positive outcome. You don't want to practice the negative. Sure, you want to be resistant, but don't be a jerk. Don't be an a-hole. Don't be negative Nelly. Don't just simply be negative to be negative because, well, that's what that person told me yesterday. Yeah, I get it. Okay. We are going to have some people out there that are just absolutely jerks. And we don't have to practice that. What we want to practice is we want to practice the positive outcome. Resistance? Yes, absolutely. I'm not interested right now. I've thought about it. Maybe down the road, I'm thinking about leaving the States. I'm going to wait for the interest rates to drop. I'm going to wait for the market to crash. You learn to handle these things. It moves the conversation forward. Okay. Now, when you are role playing, I do highly recommend you practice the version you got closest to on an appointment with yesterday or the day before. You go through, you're using the script, you're going down, you're creating momentum, and all of a sudden you hit a little bit of a wall. Okay, and what I mean by that is all of a sudden they pivot. And what I mean by they pivot, you're going through, you're asking them, how long they lived there. I've been here for 10 years. Where'd you move from? We moved from San Diego. How'd you happen to pick this area? Well, because of the kids and the schools. Great. Well, are the kids still living with you? No, they actually left. My youngest one is now a junior in college. Wow. Okay. So how is that helping you now? Well, it isn't. Okay. Now, have you considered? Well, we've thought about downsizing at some point. Well, what's stopping you from making the move? Yeah, I guess we just really haven't thought about it too much. Okay. Well, if we could get you something that is a little bit more manageable, would that be something that you would entertain? Yeah, but we're going to wait for the interest rates to drop. And all of a sudden, they just go sideways. Well, why don't we get together and we'll talk about it? No, I'm just not ready. Okay, I get it. I understand. I'm not trying to put any pressure on you. But if we could make sense of it financially for you, would you consider doing it? Well, I'd have to talk to my wife. Good. Well, why don't you talk to your wife? Should we get together this week or would it be better over the weekend? And all of a sudden, they just go sideways on you. Practice that version. Practice the version that is the closest you got to an appointment, and all of a sudden they just made a hard left or a hard right. Okay. Let me address some questions now. So Shelly's asking, how are you all with getting people to answer the phone when you're circle dialing? It's poor right now. Okay. Most of the agents that I'm coaching right now, they're probably averaging about 6 contacts an hour. Okay. Right now you're doing circle prospecting, just listed, just sold, anything that has to do with using a dialer. It's hard and it's getting harder. Now, what's the solution? Because we can complain about it. A couple of different options. And again, it's up to you in regards to the direction you want to go to. First thing is looking at a multi-line dialer. Okay. Well, that's not the first thing, but that's a thing, looking at a multi-line dialer. A couple of different options that are out there. One of the more popular ones is Mojo. Okay. One of my good friends is putting together, has a company called Enzo. Enzo has as many as a 15 line dialer. Hey, if you guys want more information about that, just feel free to send me a message and yeah, I'll get you the link to it. Okay. Yes, I did say that correct. 15 line dialer. The average on there is about 13 to 14 contacts an hour, which is way better than 6. Okay. Mojo's probably getting you, again, I'm not trying to put any companies down or uplift any companies, but Mojo's probably averaging about 8 to 10 contacts an hour, which is pretty good. Okay, which is pretty good. So there's a couple of different options that you have there. Okay, the other thing is looking at if you're hand dialing or you're basically just using some version of a dialer, looking at the distractions that you have. Okay, are you taking too many potty breaks? You're on the phone supposedly for an hour, but you're taking 2 or 3 potty breaks an hour. You're going to grabbing a drink. You're on social media. You're returning emails and texts. You're not focused. Somebody picks up and then you're just not ready to go. And all of a sudden they hang up on you because you had that awkward opening. So looking at things from that perspective. Um, Change it up sometimes, change up the pace. Okay, I talk a lot about calling expires for sale by owners just listed, your database, so on and so forth. Sometimes you're going to go through, you're going to call expires and nobody's answering. And that happens. Pivot. I have some clients that'll sit there and prospect for 4 hours on expires, and they'll end up with 8 contacts in those 4 hours. Why? Move on. Go to a different direction. Try somebody else. Call a database. Call a lead follow-up. You always have to be in a position where you're looking at what can I do to improve. Don't just sit there and wait and go, well, I'm on the phone. No, pivot. Okay. Sometimes you might have to go out and knock on doors. Look at with what it is that's going to help you get to that next level. Okay. Let's take a look. So yes, Aqua. So if you guys are looking for role play partners, I would encourage you, please use this forum. You also have MIT on Facebook. So Millionaires in Training, feel free to go ahead and inquire on there. I'd like you guys to, we have probably about 12, 13, almost 100 agents on the platform. I don't see how we cannot get 1, 2, or 5 role play partners on there. Okay. So reach out on there and then also send me a direct message to Aqua. I have a couple people that might be interested as well. Okay. Any questions, comments, concerns, anything else of anything else? And then again, for those of you that are over on YouTube, thank you for attending. Same thing with Instagram. I'm going to encourage you. The information is there to come join us on Zoom, as I'm going to be sharing scripts here in just a little bit. Okay. So there you go. You got Eliasar that's looking to role play Aqua. Okay. So exchange information. Other questions, comments, concerns, anything else before I jump back to my points? Nope. All right, cool. I had the good fortune of having a speaking engagement yesterday in Sherman Oaks. So for those of you that are joining us here for the first time, I just want to take a minute to say thank you for joining and welcome. Okay, it was definitely refreshing. It's always fun to get in front of people. So having the opportunity to speak in Fresno on Thursday, I think there was about a good 70, 80 that attended there, which was awesome. And then there was another 50 or 60 that attended Sherman Oaks. So I love that. If you are in a position where you can get at least a good 20 to 30 agents in your office, or at least a good 40 or 50 people from a regional aspect, I definitely would love the opportunity to come out and speak to your group and or office. Okay. I'm going to continue to move on with a couple points unless anybody has any questions. All right. I'm going to keep going. Raise your hand. If you do, just jump in. Now, when we're jumping on and we're prospecting, okay, some of you have this tendency of trying to prepare, to get ready, to aim, to hold on, I'm not ready yet, so let me continue to aim. Let me prepare. Hold on. Let me get ready a little bit more. I'm not ready yet. Let me aim a little bit better, but you never fire. Some of you have this approach and mentality. Here we are, June 10th. We're almost halfway through the year. Some of you have made a commitment. You guys made a promise to yourselves that this year was going to be different. Is it? Okay. And some of you have talked about prospecting, doing a better job of that, doing a better job of making more contacts per day. Are you? Okay. If you're not, there's plenty of time left in the year. Plenty of time that's still left. Don't be acceptant because this feels like just another year. Okay. Now, in that, there are going to be some times you're running a little bit late. You end up missing your role play partner. That's okay. Just continue to work, continue to practice, jump on the phones. And heck, sometimes your practice is going to be with the people that's on the phone. Okay. The people that you're prospecting. Practice though. And what I mean by that is that you don't want to make them your role play partners, but practice the script. Have it in front of you and read through it until you have it internalized. Some of you have this natural tendency of just shooting from the hip. I don't want you guys doing that anymore. Okay. Get it down, internalize it, make it yours. Another thing I want to make sure that the audience also understands that there's a couple of things that you need to eliminate, omit. If I had the opportunity to have whatever that thing is that they had in the Men in Black, okay, I don't know if you guys remember that, where it erased their memory. I wish I could do that for some of you. Okay, and what I mean by that is this: is you have to eliminate the "can you," "is it okay," "do you mind" type of questions. I get it. Trying to be proper, trying to be polite. Some of you were raised from that direction, as I was. Okay. But that doesn't sell. Okay. In other words, instead of saying, is it okay if I call you on Saturday? It's simply have is close. Okay. And be an assumptive manner. And the assumptive manner is what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a call. I'll call you on Saturday. Should I call you in the morning or should I call you in the afternoon? Versus, is it okay? Do not ask a yes or no question unless you have the answer to it. Okay. As an example, how many of you here want to be successful? Okay. Or better yet, do you want to be successful? The answer to that question is going to be yes. Okay. I know the answer to that question. So, in that, you can ask yes or no questions, but only if you know the answer to it, is my point. Okay. So, moving on. Any other questions that I can address? I'm going to share a script here in literally in about a minute or two. For those of you that are over on YouTube, Instagram, I'm going to be sharing the script here in literally about 2 minutes. So, any other questions? Anything else?
I have a question, Robert.
Mm-hmm.
I found out that during the Just Listen, Just Sold,
Mm-hmm.
I got a lot of hang up. I barely can move out the script
Mm-hmm.
and take a lot of time. So I found that I just like running in the loop that couldn't convert.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I should focus on like absentee owner or retire, like downsize,
Mm-hmm.
where I can have a little bit more targeted and get a better result than just do just list, just sold
Yeah.
in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
What is your advice on that?
Well, I think what I ask of all my clients, Anne, is that you definitely want to be in a position where you identify 4 to 6 different sources. Okay. And in that, if you're going to go after any specific source, give it at least 6 months, okay, before you make the decision. Now, answering your question in specific, it's up to you, okay, because there's 63 different ways that have been identified to be able to generate business. You don't have to go after just listeds. But here's the beauty of what I like about the Just Listed script, which I'll break down in literally in about 30, 60 seconds, is that it gives us the opportunity to have a conversation. Okay. Which the other scripts unfortunately don't quite as much. Okay. So now let me go ahead and share the script. Let me further explain. Great segue. So let me go ahead and share the script. So thank you for that question. And again, for those of you that are over on YouTube and Instagram, you got to come join us. I'm going to share the script here, which unfortunately I can't on the other platforms. So let me go ahead and pull this up. All right. So here's a script. And as we go through, Anne, with what we're talking about, move my screen here just a little bit. As we're calling people, we have the body of this script. When are you planning on moving? How long have you lived at this address? Where did you move from? How'd you happen to pick this area? If you were to move, where would you go to next? Now, in this script, the reason I like this script is because it's very universal. Okay. As an example, you're at an open house. Hi, how are you doing? My name is Robert. You in the market for a house? Okay, cool, great. Take a look around. I'm saying it from a perspective you don't have a script or you don't know what you're doing. I can quickly jump in and say, well, when are you planning on moving, Mr. or Mrs. Open House guest? Okay. Where do you live now? Here in the neighborhood? Great. How long have you lived at this address? Where did you guys move from? The body of this allows us the opportunity to converse. That's the one thing I do like about it. Let me give you another example. Okay, so for those of you guys that are in Southern California, LA, IE, OC area, there's a store called Stater Brothers. Okay, and there was kind of this jingle that they would have, not Stater Brothers, but I think it was Vaughn's or Albertsons. And they had this little thing, late 90s, early 2000s. And what they would sit there and say was, when we value our customers so much that when we have 3 people in line, we open a new line. You guys remember that? Okay. That was a while ago. I don't even know if they do it anymore. So I would go to the store and I'd go to Stater Brothers, and they would, of course, notoriously have 8, 9, 10, or 12 people in line. Okay. And I would just kind of sit there and just kind of talk to the person in the back, small talk, and just basically go, Stater Brothers motto must be when they have 15 people in line, maybe, hopefully, they'll have another person that can open another register. And then I'd always get a chuckle because it was kind of a cute little saying that was kind of a common thing there. And then in that 5-10 minute window, I would basically just go, do you live in the area? Yeah, I do. I live just right down there. Oh, nice. How long have you lived there? Oh, where'd you move from? How'd you happen to pick this area? I'm just conversing. while I'm moving forward, pushing my breads and my eggs and my milk forward, right? And then I would pivot and I would ask the question, if you were to move, where would you go to next? Then I'd get this weird, like, look, huh? What do you mean? Oh, well, the reason I'm asking is I'm a local realtor. Okay. I help a lot of friends and a lot of family here in the area. And I was curious, if you were to make a move, where would you go to next? Yeah, we're not really thinking about making a move. We're totally cool. Well, great. I'd love the opportunity to be one of your go to realtors if you don't have one. As a matter of fact, here's my card. I'd love the opportunity to stay in touch. How can we stay in touch? So, my point in this question, Anne, is I love this script because it gives us the opportunity to do that anywhere. I would do that at parties. Okay. I'd literally would be hanging out and Sean would be right next to me and I don't know the guy. And I'd be like, hey, do you live in the area? Yeah, I do. Well, where do you live at? Oh, I live down here. Where'd you move from? Oh, I moved from over here. How long have you been here? Well, we've been here for 10 years. What brought you to this area? We would just have a conversation. He didn't know that I was actually using a script. That's what I love about this script. But now, answer your question in specific, Ann, is I want you to use whatever it is that you want, but I still would like you to work on this script and go after whatever sources you feel, in a sense, that's most beneficial for you. Okay.
You, Robert. So it
Mhm,
sounds like we internalize the script
mhm.
to use across
Yeah.
all the source or for the conversation. What we do, we would just change the hook, change the intro, right? Depends on the source that we use.
Sure, absolutely. You definitely can do that. I prefer to stay to with what it is, the way that it is, just simply because of the fact that it is built with NLP in it. For those of you guys that don't know neuro linguistic programming, it's already embedded in there. Because what ends up happening, a large percentage of you, as you go through and you start to use and butcher and start to differ the script, you start to eliminate the value of the script because you start asking questions. Hey, are you thinking about making a move? Versus when are you planning on moving? And then when we ask a question, hey, are you thinking about making a move? No, I'm not really thinking about making a move. And all of a sudden, boom, one no. Right out the gate, you get a no. In most cases, we get three no's and we're out. So we want to be very careful on not changing it, okay? Which is really important because here's the other thing. When you go and knock on doors, guess what script is probably the most important script to use when you're knocking on doors? This one, okay? So I'm not saying don't go after just listed or just sold, nor am I saying you have to go after just listed, just sold. I'm just saying that this is one of the scripts that's probably the most universal. The database is mandatory. Okay. My clients have to have that down. Number two, the just listed, just sold, a version of it, because this is the most conversational piece you can have. You can't do that with a FISBO script. You can't do it with Expire script. You can't do that with the absentee owner script. This is that one script. You guys got that? Okay. So let me go ahead and work on some of the skills side of things. Okay. As I mentioned, I want to work on continuing to build strength on our skills. So let me get a role play partner. Okay. Who wants to be my go-to person? Let me get a role play partner. I'll be the agent.
I can do it.
Okay. Thank you, Sean. All right. So I'm gonna be the agent. We're gonna just go through. I'm gonna do the opening. So ring ring.
Hello?
Hello, Sean.
Who's this?
Sean, yeah, my name is Robert. I'm a local realtor. The reason I'm calling you is I just listed a beautiful home for sale. It's right around the corner from you over on Banana Street. It has four bedrooms, two baths. It's a beautiful property. We have it listed at a great price of 800,000. Sean, I was curious, who do you know that wants to move here into our neighborhood?
Yeah, we're not looking to sell right now.
Yeah, no worries. I really appreciate you even taking the time to think about that. But I am curious though, who do you know that's wanting to move here into our neighborhood? We're trying to get this property sold.
Oh, got it. No, I can't think of anybody off the top of my head.
Okay, cool. No, no, no worries. And then you mentioned you're not thinking about making a move anytime soon?
No, I think this might, be our forever home. We've been here for 20 years already. I don't know if we want to move.
Good. Wow, 20 years. That's awesome. Where'd you guys move from 20 years ago?
Just the other side of town.
Okay, so basically you've been here for a long period of time.
That's right.
Okay, good. Well, how'd you happen to pick this part of town?
When we were looking, I
Mhm.
think when our kids were young, we were just looking, and they had a good, the school that's here in the neighborhood is pretty good. So I think that's probably how we picked it.
Yeah, I don't want to assume. You've been here now for about 20 years. Any kids still going to the schools here?
Oh no, they're all grown up, moved out, and off to college.
Ah, so empty nesters, huh?
Yes.
Well, that's awesome. I do see here you do have a two-story home. How are those stairs treating you, by the way?
We tried to stay downstairs as much as we can.
Okay, got it. So that upstairs is doing nothing more than collecting dust?
I guess so.
Yeah, Sean, have you ever considered maybe looking at something that's downsizing, or for that matter, maybe a single story?
We've pitched the idea. We've
Mhm.
thought about it. I don't know if that's something we, you know, are in the market for right now.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I totally get that. And Sean, that's very common. I'm sure you weren't expecting a realtor like myself to give you a call this morning. Sean, if we could find a property that is a little bit more suitable to your lifestyle now, that does make sense financially, would it be something that you and your wife would consider?
That's something that we got to think about. What do you think we can get for our house?
Yeah, that's a great question. I really don't know. I haven't seen your property. Should I come by, take a look at it today? I can stop by at 5, or I could always do something later on, probably on the weekend, like on Saturday. Which 2 days works better for us?
Like I said, I think we're
Mm.
not there just yet.
Yeah.
But if you want to
Mm.
drop off your information, I'll talk to my wife and let's see where we're at on that.
Yeah, let me take a minute to just make sure we're on the same page. Sean, I'm not looking to get you to sign anything. I'm not trying to sell you on anything. I just want to be able to evaluate your home to see if it actually does make sense. A little bit of a meet and greet, probably about 5 or 10 minutes. I'll come by, take a look at the home, and just kind of introduce myself. When's a good time for me to just simply take a 5, 10 minutes pop by? And I can actually do that either this week, or I could probably do it on the weekend.
Weekends are probably better.
Mhm.
Usually we're here Saturday mornings.
Okay, cool. So, anyways, I don't want to go too deep on that script. What I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to get in front of you. That's all I'm trying to do. Okay. Now I might add a little bit more from a direction if we could possibly make this happen. How soon could you do that? Where would you want to go? Anything from that discovery part of things. How does your wife feel about this? Who's most excited about making the move? I can add more from this perspective to solidify, instead of it just being a pop by, a visit, an introduction, to possibly even turning it into a listing appointment. In this case, probably not. Okay. But what we also don't want to do ever is be in a position of assumption. We don't want to assume because right out the gate we're not looking at making the move. If okay, for those of you guys that are single, have you guys ever been rejected? All right, which is probably why you're single. Okay. Now, of that, do you take the first no? Okay. No, you're going to continue to push forward. For some of you, you're married to the person or in a relationship to the person that actually gave you the first no. So we have to make sure that we continue to push forward. And sure, at some point in time, you're just being a weirdo, you're being a creepo, and sometimes you're being a hard closer. But we don't take the first, the second, or the third no. We just keep moving forward. And in this case, what I would even do, if even if you didn't give me the opportunity, I would still go and knock on your door at some later time, because again, I don't have any competition. That's what I love about this. So I would go and stop by, whether it be a Friday, a Saturday, or next week, and I just knock on your door, Sean. Hey, Robert, the person that you spoke with over the phone. I had an appointment right down the street, and I thought about you. I'd figure I'd just stop by. You told me to drop off my information. Well, here it is. I figure I'd just drop it off in person. So now I created a connection. Now, is this a listing in July of 2025? Probably not, but it could be a listing of November of 25, or February of 26, or June of 26. Maybe. Okay. Did we get that? All right. So let me get a couple more questions in. We have a question on Instagram. What is the script when you do not have a just listed or just sold? You still want to use it. Okay. Now, what you want to do though is you're going to want to pick a property, ideally, that's going to be fitting for with what you're trying to go after. What I mean by that, the area that I service now, which is in Central Valley, in Visalia specifically. So when I go after a listing, I'd rather not go so much after the two, 300, $400,000 listing. If I'm going to promote a listing from another office, another agent, it's probably going to be something that's going to be in that 700, 800,000. Why? Because that's a likely move up, and that likely move up is going to be the person that's selling the three, four, or $500,000 home to go to that 700 or 800,000. So it doesn't have to be your listing, is what I'm getting at. You can go after another listing, somebody else's listing, give the agent a call. Shelly, hey, this is Robert, a local realtor here with ABC Company. You have your listing, which is a beautiful property over on Banana Street. Would you be okay if I marketed around it and try to get you a buyer? You're going to get one or two agents that's going to say no, Absolutely not. But there's going to be other agents that are going to say, sure, why not? I've had the house on the market now for about a month now, and I haven't been able to get it sold. So sure, absolutely. No different than asking if you can hold it open. Okay. So, or a property that just sold in the area, and it doesn't have to be your listing. It could be just a inventory of properties. Okay. And then I think I didn't get a chance to answer Shelly's question here. Shelly said on Zoom, if I understand Anne correctly, the script isn't giving her the opportunity to have a conversation, though, because she said, because she is not getting down it. Okay, so she's not going down, basically. She's not getting down far enough. So with Anne, a little bit, just to further elaborate on Anne's original question, sometimes it's the way that we open. And the way that we open, as I've said before, if I'm listening to Anne and she's prospecting and I can only hear her conversation and she's calling Sean, I should be able to hear Sean through Anne's conversation. I shouldn't hear Anne after Anne after Anne after Anne on every call. That's versatility. As I've mentioned before, and I'm going to wrap this up here in about 60 seconds. If I'm calling somebody and I'm going through, hi, Pam. Hi, Pam. My name is Robert. I'm a local realtor. Yeah, I just listed a property for sale. It's right around the corner from you. Okay, that's probably not going to be a Sean type of person. Okay, somebody who's going to be a little bit more masculine, a little bit more direct. Now, it could be the other way around. Bob, hey, Bob, yes. I'm a local realtor. Yes, my name is Robert. The reason I'm calling you, okay, that's probably not going to be a sweet little old lady. So I need to be able to hear through you with what the person you're speaking with. And if you continue, listen to yourself. If it's one recording after another recording, after another recording, after another recording, and there's no variance, that's part of the issue. Okay. So I think
you're talking about mimic and match.
Mirroring and matching, 100%. Okay. So, all right. So we're going to do Instagram Live today. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this thing up. I am a couple minutes over. So I do want to say thank you to everybody for continuing to show up. I'm hoping that you guys are, of course, continuing to see value in what we're doing. So we're going to be back tomorrow, 7:30, the exact same thing. And we're going to continue to chip away at this thing. Okay. We're going to continue to get better and better and better and better. Today, 12 o'clock, Instagram Live with James. I'm going to encourage you guys to come join us. This is basically going to be an open forum. We want to be able to address your questions, your concerns, your challenges, your whatevers. And then again, that's going to be today, 12 o'clock on Instagram. So I'm going to encourage you guys to come and join us. All right, everybody, let's go take a listing or 5. I'll see you guys later today at 12 o'clock. And if I don't, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. All right, guys, I'll see you guys later. Don't forget to tune in today at 12 o'clock here on Instagram. So for you YouTubers, come join us on Instagram. We're going to be going over just kind of an open forum Q&A. Usually we interview somebody, but today we want to be able to address the audience, as I'm sure that you have a question, 2 or 5 that we can address. Anyways, thank you for tuning in. Hopefully I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.